I'm feeling it, feel the glass, you just have to move. Feeling it, feel the legs pushing up on the stairs. I'm feeling it, feel the high that you get from the line. If you feel it, raise your hand in the sky. I know you're feeling it. Crystals are nice, I like the toes, I keep on spelling it.
Welcome, everyone. This is the For the Love of the Game podcast. I'm your host, Chris Beaumont, CBO. I'm joined by my brother, my main man, Jerry Torres. Say what's up to the people, JT. This guy's acting like a rookie already. I think the bright
pressure
lights,
of the lights.
Yeah, it's kind of hot, but we're ready. First of all, this is our 1 year anniversary episode. This is our first visual episode. Maybe there will be more to come. We're not 100% sure yet if we will continue to do it in this format, but we wanted to give you guys something special, a different look into the podcast and what goes into making the podcast. So we're going to do this week's episode from the desk. JT, 1 year later, I just want to, before we get started, this was something that I'll give credit to DE. Shout out to Danny. Him and I brainstormed this idea that I had from a video. I know some of you have seen, some of you may not have seen. We'll share it again one day.
Good morning. So I'm driving to work this morning. I wake up, I look at Facebook, and I see, Rich, not only your status about how Jordan and LeBron's being compared, and this blasphemy, then my brother makes a comment about don't ever compare. Let me tell y'all something. Let me break news, because obviously this is something that nobody has ever realized. Newsflash: when the game of basketball was created, before Michael Jordan was born, he wasn't the greatest ever. Before Michael Jordan stepped foot in the NBA, he wasn't the greatest ever. Newsflash: there was a greatest ever before Michael Jordan. I know, it's blasphemy. Oh my God, how dare I say that? Yes.
And it was built over this concept of the whole Jordan-LeBron thing that I would always weigh in on. And throughout the playoffs and different sports, I would, occasionally on Facebook weigh in on different topics. And there was so much feedback from you guys and opinions and different things like that, that we brainstormed the idea of this podcast. And that's really literally how it started. We just sat down one day and thought, we need to make this happen. People are responding. People obviously, you guys obviously care what I have to say. This has always been a passion of mine, as shown through me pursuing this, which you guys, I want to say thank you to above all, because without you guys responding the way you have and showing the support and love that you have for this podcast and for me, I wouldn't have built up the confidence to really pursue this the way that I have. So first and foremost, before we start anything with the show today, I want to say thank you to all the For the Love of the Game listeners, supporters, encouragers, people who've shared, people who've, whatever you've done to contribute to us getting to where we're at now 1 year later. JT, without you, I could not be here. I know, I started out without you, but you believed in me. You rode with me. You supported me. You uplifted me when it was times when I didn't believe in myself. So,
Real quick,
I just want to say thank you to you also.
No
JT,
problem. I don't want to cut you off, but I wanted to discuss my journey with you on this.
Awesome.
And how we got started.
Awesome.
Obviously, the people who listen to us don't know. I think you're about maybe 3 or 4 episodes in.
Yeah, just about.
Your show.
Just about.
And I just happened to be going on vacation up in the woods where you're at, in the Poconos.
Yep.
And Chris invited me to do a show with him, and it's crazy because this is something. I mean, obviously, I'm not aspiring to be a broadcaster like he is, but this is something that I've always, like when you go in the shower and you sing to yourself, or you, I always kind of threw myself into interviews or into debates and everything like that, and I always imagine myself.
Real quick story, not to cut you off. We do this to each other all the time. If you've never seen this. It's funny you mention that, because I think when I really realized that this has been a lifelong passion for me, people would ask me, what is it that you would want to be? Because I went through a period of time, as I'm sure we all have, when you're not exactly sure what you want to do or what you want to be in life. And people would always ask me what it is. And my first response would always be, my dream job would be to be on ESPN or SportsCenter. And I can recall playing basketball in high school, and I can remember win, lose, or not draw, but win or lose, I would come home. And this is a secret. I've never told anybody this. I actually shared this with my administrators here at the school. about realizing that this was truly my passion. I don't even know if I told JT this. I just recently told Mimi this. When I was in high school, after every game, I would come home to take a shower, and I would literally close the door, turn the water on. I would stand in front of the mirror and do a mock post-game interview. Literally, I would do a mock post-game interview of every game if I felt like I played well, if I thought our team was looking good, and I would do that, and no one ever knew. And I didn't even know that that was in preparation for what it is I'd be doing now. But go ahead, JT. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, it's all right.
Yeah, it's something you didn't realize.
Right.
You know?
I mean, I think we all naturally, we do things, we imagine ourselves in different scenarios. And for me, growing up, and even to this day, sports has always been a huge part of my life, a huge part of who I am. And so like I was saying before, I'd always imagined doing stuff like this. And you gave me the opportunity to come up. And I remember that night before I did the show with you, I had a dream. I'm not being MLK here, but I literally dreamed about, doing the show with you and things I'd be saying and stuff like that. But I was excited.
Yeah.
And when I went to your house, it started out in a room in his house.
In a room, yep, with a mic and a laptop.
I went to his house, and it was amazing. It was different, and I think we ended up doing almost like a 2-hour-long show just because it was just so much to talk about, and we vibed so well off of that. And I thought that was it. I thought it was done.
The response was amazing. A lot of you who've been long-time listeners, long-time supporters gave the feedback. Everyone was like, yo, who was that? Because I was testing out a whole bunch of, I didn't tell anybody, but I was testing out a whole bunch of different people to come in, because the initial idea of this was just to give us, the regular guy, a place where we can talk sports, debate it, not feel weird, not write long Facebook posts. I wanted to provide a page, and I wanted to provide a podcast and a space where we can all discuss the things that we're into. A platform, exactly. And everyone's response when JT came on was like, who is that? He knows his stuff. You guys are amazing. That's dope. You got to get him back. And it was just like, I think right after we put out the episode, I called you and I was like, you got to do this.
You text me what DE wrote and stuff like that. And I couldn't believe it because, like I said, I always imagined myself doing this stuff, but I didn't think I'd be anything. I didn't think I could do. I didn't think I could do it. Obviously, I'm not a professional. I'm not going to school for it or whatever. I'm an amateur. So
you're very good though.
I don't say that. I think we work well together. This is your dream. But just to make it long story short, it just shows you how far along we've come. And there are times where both of us have been in the dumps. Trying to keep it going. We both have lives, we both have families, and we both needed to lift each other at different times. And so we've come a long way. It's to the point now where I get up on Mondays knowing that we're going to record, and I turn the laptop on and I start bringing everything up that I know I'm going to be discussing just to be prepared for this. And it doesn't feel like work.
It's fun.
And I always told you that I don't want this to feel like work for me.
Because I used to be really, really intense about it. I mean, this is my passion. I used to drive him. I used to drive Vinny. Shout out to Vinny, who's done. Also want to give a shout out because he's created our website. Vinny believed in me. He joined the team and he busts his ass for us. And we appreciate that. DE, who gives up hours a week just to edit and make sure. And we bump heads sometimes and we argue because we're all that passionate about this. So without each and every one of you, this wouldn't be possible. So 1 year later, I'm so humbled by the love and support by you all. And of course, I have to give, speaking of big news and shout outs, a shout out to Mimi, my fiance, my future wife. She's pregnant. We just announced on Facebook. It's not official.
I've known this.
Of course. It's not official until you announce it on Facebook. So
That's
we've
awesome.
announced it. We're having a baby. Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. But we will, of course, do something with that also. But I just want to thank her for being supportive. She's in school. She's a mom. She's a wife. She's a maid. She's a cook. She washes up after me, cleans up. I'm not a pig or anything, but she's amazing. She's amazing. I'm going to school and working. So we have lives. We have family. A year later, this thing has gotten bigger and better. And without all of you, my dream couldn't be a reality. So I just want to thank everybody before we get started. But let's jump into the episode. This is episode 45, the 1-year anniversary episode of the For the Love of the Game podcast. I hope you guys can see how excited I am. I'm trying to bring the energy today. I'm not trying because it's just naturally here. I'm really excited to be visually here. I can't wait for you guys to watch this and enjoy this. And hopefully we'll get some new listeners and new fans of the show, of what we do. And people who aren't afraid. This isn't about what you know. We aren't always right. Nobody's right here. We're literally here to discuss, open up the conversation, give our opinions, start the discussion, and hopefully you guys can follow along and chime in.
I just the theme that I always tell people, and this is what I told my family when I first started telling them about it, whatever, was we're the common man.
Yep.
And we're using that as our perspective. We're not, we didn't grow up in the industry.
Nope.
We don't, we're not writers. We're not journalists.
Nope.
We're just, people that work, that have jobs, that have families and have lives, but
have
are also intertwined in sports and how involved we are with our sports and stuff like that. So I just wanted to put that out there. We're not professionals. He's going to be eventually.
Lord willing.
And we'll always keep that theme of being, we're not bigger than anybody out there.
Yeah.
We're not better than anybody.
We welcome anyone and everyone to join in on the conversation. You don't have to be a diehard. This isn't for diehard sports fans only. This is for the casual fan. This is for the diehard fan. This is for the fan who's just too busy to keep up and watch ESPN for hours long or follow on their phone every alert. Some people are just too busy. So we want to give you a place every week where you can come, get your information, get some opinion, and have the discussion. So let's jump into the episode. We're going to start this week's episode off talking about Penn State and Joe Paterno. Okay, JT, this has been a touchy subject for a couple of years now. I grew up, as you know, in the Poconos, the later half of my life in the Poconos. I have a lot of friends who go to Penn State. I know a lot of people who are Penn State fans. I'm in that north. Even though it's more central, I think southwest or centralized Pennsylvania. But a lot of people are Penn State alum and things like that. And this week, some stuff came out about Joe Paterno having more knowledge than, I guess, originally thought of what was going on with Jerry Sandusky. First off, before we jump into everything and jump out the window with the situation, what is it that you felt from what you know about it? Because again, we don't claim to be professionals or writers. We're going off of the information that we gather and just giving you our opinions.
All right, so do you want me to tell you how I feel about it or the information that I know as of right now about it?
Both.
Okay. Well, I read about it and also heard about it on the way up. Stuck in traffic to get here, by the way. Every Monday it seems like there's something wrong with the GW Bridge. For those of you who are from the New York area and know of it, traffic sucks. Anyway, the gist of it is that some more information has come out that seems to throw light into maybe Paterno knowing about this from further back. He admits to knowing it or being aware of it in 1999. The information that came out is it's basically attached to the lawsuit and the insurance companies that are giving the payouts.
Yep, that's the big issue now. It's like an insurance battle,
right? And they're paying somebody who made an allegation all the way back in '71, and the information that they're going about saying that Joe Pa knew about this is because this person who's making the allegation in '71 said he spoke to members of the coaching staff, one of them being named Joe.
Okay, so I have noted here that in 1976, there was a child reported sexual misconduct or something fishy to that nature to Coach Paterno. Now, these are facts that I've gathered. 1987, an assistant coach witnessed Sandusky in the shower doing inappropriate things with a student, with a child. 1988, a child reported to the athletic director. So the point of what I'm saying is that there was enough attention being brought to it.
There was definitely smoke.
And it didn't come until, was it 09 when this unfolded? I'm not sure the year that it unfolded. But I guess the thing that we're getting at, Jerry, is what went wrong here? What do you think? How could this situation have been handled better?
Here's my
obviously it wasn't handled correctly.
I don't condone any activity like this. This is obviously, there's no excuse for it. There's no way to sugarcoat it or anything like that. This is wrong. There's no different shades of this. This is completely just terrible.
So who's at fault?
Here's what I think, and this is what people need to remember and put into perspective. This was the culture of sports, college sports, especially back in that time. And I'm not excusing it, but a lot of times, and it happened in all the major, I'm pretty sure it's in all, Notre Dame, Florida State, a lot of things were swept under the rug because you don't want to damage the program. You don't want to...
And you don't mean child molestation things. You mean
anything.
Big issue.
Anything. Any type of major issues that are any type of allegations about anything.
I think that's widely known also, that a lot of stuff... We talked about that in an episode about, how... especially in the college, like you said, it's the culture of protecting the big time athlete. Obviously, these teams are money makers for these schools.
Right, not
these
just
coaches are big, gods to these small town campuses.
People forget that college sports is a little different from professional sports. A lot of college teams, like their town or their state, that's all they have.
Exactly.
That's their team.
Yep.
So a lot of people are into that, like, oh, don't bring them down. This is our team.
Real quick to that point, JT, not to cut you off, hold that thought, is I think that's my biggest issue with it. It's the people who are defending, and they're defending Penn State. This isn't an attack on your school. This isn't an attack on your alma mater. This isn't an attack on you per se. This is an attack on adults who let a child get molested. This is an attack on people who are aware of a situation concerning a child being in danger and doing minimal things to protect the child or to avoid this situation from prolonging. And that's my biggest issue, that people are taking this personal, especially, Penn State alum or people who are big fans of the team. This is an attack on the football team. This is an attack on blue and white. This is an attack on Penn State, the university. This is an attack on the individuals who are involved that let a child be molested. That's my thing I need people to understand. Stop taking it so personal. Stop the protection, the fanboy, the rah-rah, no, my school by any means necessary. Step back as a parent. Step back as a brother. Step back as a son. Step back as a mother. And think about if that was your child, your uncle, your cousin, your brother, your little sister that was having these type of things happen to them, would you be standing behind your university?
I don't even have to answer that because everybody knows the answer to that question.
So I think for me, JT, and I know you were in the middle of a thought, my biggest issue is there's nothing to defend here. What's right is right and what's wrong is wrong.
There's no gray area.
We all know something was wrong and nothing was done, period. It's not about the school. It's not about Joe Pa's legacy. It's not about that. Joe Pa's created what he's created. He's been an amazing football coach. You cannot take that away from him. I hope I'm clear with that. Nothing done here can take away from what he did on that football field. But also, he has to stand up. Unfortunately, he can't because he's deceased and not here to defend himself. But he also has to be held accountable and responsibility for what he didn't do.
It's all about accountability. I agree.
And you can continue your point. I just,
there's nothing really else to add. I mean, you took over and you brought it home.
So. Yeah, so I don't want to stress it because I think, it's a serious issue. Is Joe Pa responsible? Let me ask you this. Is Joe Pa responsible? Do you see him responsible for the transgressions of Sandusky? And how will this affect his legacy in your opinion?
I can't say that you can point to Joe Pa and say
he's not the animal.
You're the problem.
Exactly.
I think he's part of the problem. And I think that's what needs to be understood is it was a big problem, not just in Penn State, but in sports in general, the college sports. Culture. And unfortunately it takes, stuff like this to bring all of this stuff to light and for changes to be made. And the only thing that I will say is this. The thing I don't agree with is when you when things come up, later on, things that are after the fact, and you penalize institutions. I don't like that. I feel like the students that are there that had nothing to do with what went on get penalized.
So that's the point that I was going to get to next. Is what would the proper punishment? What do you think the proper punishment would have been? Excuse me. For this situation, because I feel like, and this is the big issue with college and problems with infractions in the college code of conduct and rule book and all these rules that the NCAA has, where is whatever the school gets caught for doing or accused of, the current players and coaches have to be penalized for.
Right.
I
disagree with that completely.
What do you think could have been done and should have been done in this situation?
Major fines to the university. The university must be held accountable and must pay.
Okay.
I'm okay with losing some scholarships. Don't take away scholarships from kids that are already there.
I'm not. Because I think you're affecting Look, first of all, Coach Paterno should have been fired.
I agree.
And again, I'm not saying break his statue down. I'm not saying his legacy is... I'm saying when you allow something like this to happen under your watch, whether you know or don't know, knowingly or unbeknownst, it's your responsibility. You're the captain of the ship. Whatever happens to the ship, you're responsible for. So I think he should have been fired immediately. I don't think his statue should have been took down until further information came out. You understand what I'm saying? But I think he should have been fired. Sandusky obviously should be taken to court and jailed.
Which he already is.
And all the administrators and people in Penn State,
gone.
Clean house.
Yep, I agree.
I think that's fair. You're punishing a football team of kids who have
here's the thing.
no idea.
I wouldn't
a future coach who has no idea, scholarships and bowl games. What is that doing? You still got those guys up there who are allowing this, who are informed and knew what was going on. Or again, it goes up the ladder. When you're in charge, you're going.
Right.
You're in charge of that, you're going. You're in charge of university, you're going. For allowing this or not knowing that this was going on.
Here's why I say, take away scholarships. I'm not talking about taking away scholarships from kids that are already at the program. I'm saying don't allow them to give out scholarships for like the next 2 or 3 years.
But you're still punishing a program with a coach that's gone.
You're not. Because
punish the coach.
I wouldn't give them the postseason ban. I would still let them if they qualify.
But why take scholarships? What I'm asking, it's just like when you punish your kid.
School makes money off of how well that program does.
But if you're not eliminating bowl games, they're gonna make money off that too, JT.
If they can't make the bowl games, they're not making money off the bowl games.
But who says just because you take scholarships, that's going to stop them?
That's how you get the premium athletes.
I get it. But at the same time, there's 5 million bowls. You can go to the Tostitos Chip Bowl. You can go to the Poland Spring Bowl. You can go to the... You know what I'm saying? You're going to make money and get something from it regardless.
But you're not going to make what you were going to make.
And what you're saying, if you're saying affect the school and the money, I would say postseason ban. Scholarships, you're affecting kids.
The postseason ban.
Why?
Because it's not.
You can potentially stop them from going from a championship. Okay, but so can But this is what I'm saying, JT. Taking away scholarships does the same thing in a different way.
But you're not affecting the people that are there right there.
You are. Because there's kids that
the
potentially could have ended up there that can't go there now because of the unavailability of scholarships.
But they'll go somewhere else. If they're a scholarship athlete, they can go somewhere else and still be successful, Chris.
You can say the same thing about the bowl ban.
Nah. Now you're penalizing the people that are already there.
I think regardless, anything you're taking away from that current team, you're penalizing that team who had nothing to do with it. If you remove the coaches, you penalize the upper administration, you penalize the AD, charge them. Charge that AD. Charge Paterno. Charge Sandusky. I'm not arguing any of that. Because whether you knew or not, the negligence to allow something like that to happen, you have to stand up and be responsible and accountable for. As far as the football team goes, punishing a school and a football team for the actions of its administrators and coaches, I just find ridiculous. Either way, you're punishing kids and a coach and a coaching staff that had nothing to do with the past.
Agree to disagree, sir.
Okay, like we usually do here. We'll move forward. Another topic we wanted to talk about, and we discussed this, but we didn't discuss this on the podcast. Sam Bradford and I almost said the New York Eagles, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Don't ever say that.
Yeah, there's a standoff.
No longer standoff.
So what's going on? Apparently, Sam Bradford saying he's going to retire.
No, today he put out a statement. He's going to be coming back to the Eagles. He's
killing me.
Yes,
he's killing me. And I had just turned around. Let me tell you what my train of thought was. So we originally spoke on this, and we talked about how he's being a big baby, how he needs to go play. He's not even that good. I'm not saying he's garbage. Look, when you go into professional sports, you're obviously a certain level of good. You understand what I'm saying? Where JT and I can't match up. So I'm not going to sit here and say like, oh, he's on the bench for the Spurs, he's a bum. When I say that, it's relative. Okay, understand that. And when I say things like that, don't take it personal. Okay, guys, whoever's out there watching, listening, athletes who we might need on the show,
don't be they.
Yeah, please don't be they. Okay, so Bradford, he's not that good. We agree. He's not a A-level quarterback or B-level quarterback.
Hasn't been yet.
And he was standing off with the Eagles because of the fact that they went and drafted
Carson Wentz.
They
mortgaged their future.
Second pick, right?
Yeah, they gave up quite a bit.
So this was my thinking, and I turned full circle on this because originally I was on board with you, JT, and I felt like, you know what? He needs to get over it. Like, go play, go fight for the job, and the best man win. Then I started thinking like a football guy, JT. Like, this is another ongoing thing we have here because I'm apparently not a football guy yet. I haven't earned my pigskin yet. JT, I feel like, what do you think the point was of them moving up that high in the draft, giving up what they gave up, to getting what they got to get a quarterback? Now, if you're standing back and you're saying, Bradford, you're thinking you gave up what you gave up, you moved up to be the second pick for a quarterback. That not only is it disrespectful, because I mean he's not that good, but you signed me to a 2-year contract. It's disrespectful because Obviously, you want that guy. You don't believe in me. And now your argument is he signed a 2-year deal. That's signs right there that you're not the long-term quarterback. Granted, but I think at the time of him signing, he knew he had at least that year to prove. When you go out and get a quarterback, now this is where we're going to disagree. And maybe this, again, is me not being a football guy. But if you went to get this guy that high, he's going to play. You don't go get a guy that high in the draft to not play, JT, especially when you don't have the faith that you need in your starting quarterback. So I get where Bradford's coming from. Is he that good to put up the fit that he? Probably not. Could he have signed somewhere else? I mean, Jets fans, would y'all have taken him? I don't know. I don't know that, JT, but I will say that I get where he's coming from a little now, because it's like you don't go that high in the draft and get a quarterback number 2 and not and say he's not playing. I think he's in a quarterback battle now. He feels disrespected.
All right, 2 things right off the bat.
Because I think when he signed the contract, he thought it was a guarantee he was their starter at least this year.
And that's what the statement that they put out. They signed him to be their starting quarterback.
But if you get a quarterback at number 2 pick in the draft,
you're getting caught up.
What's the difference between the number 2 pick and the number 1 pick?
There's
JT?
no difference.
Is the number 1 pick in the draft starting this year?
You're getting caught up.
Is the number 1 pick in the draft starting this year?
Yeah, because they don't have anything. There's nothing in front. There's no Bradford in front of them. There's not even anything.
So Bradford's some good type of quarterback.
He's better than anything the Rams have by far.
So if Sam Bradford was the Rams quarterback, would their number 1 pick quarterback be starting this year? Because they traded him away.
Nope.
They traded him away, though.
They traded him for the guy who they have, Nick Foles,
who they're not even starting.
I think he's probably going to get cut.
Yeah. So think about that. So Bradford wasn't that good. If we gave him away, and we're not even starting the guy that we gave him away for. But you think this number 2 team, the Eagles, is going to sit there?
I think you're caught up in
Help me.
I'm trying. You're a new age football fan, Chris. You're just now starting to get into it and whatever.
Shots.
Hey, I got to do it.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Here's the deal. All right, you're caught up in this new age. Rookies got to play right away. They got to start. They got to take their lumps and everything like that.
Why go up to the number two pick to get a guy that you're not going to play?
Not everybody does that, Chris, and you don't have to follow that formula. Most of the time when they do that is because there's nothing in front of them anyway. Let them take their lumps, and we'll just lose as a team, get another couple, another good pick the following year, and we'll build, from there. And then by year 2 or 3, we should be good. Here's the thing.
So you think that if Sam Bradford's as bad as he is, they want their new quarterback to sit behind Bradford and learn from Bradford?
He's not as bad as he is.
But you're just telling me he wasn't even a big quarterback.
I said he's not good. That doesn't mean that he's bad.
You want your rookie learning from a C caliber quarterback?
I want, if I have an opportunity to take a rookie who has good potential, who's still sort of a project in Carson Wentz. He played in a small school, small program. You want to give that guy enough time to develop. You want to allow him to get to know the system better. You don't want to rush him into a situation where something like along the lines of like David Carr. I don't know if you remember, or maybe you didn't watch football back then, but he went into the Texans, started as a rookie, got pounded, and became gun-shy after that. It was never the same after that. Compared to somebody like, I don't know, an Aaron Rodgers, sat for 3-4 years, came in, tore the league on fire.
Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre.
Yes, he did. You want me to look it up?
I know he did.
Oh, okay.
That's my point.
Okay.
Brett Favre, Sam Bradford.
Okay, but here's the thing. Here's what you don't know about Aaron Rodgers, because you're just a casual football fan.
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers needed to be broken down and rebuilt as a quarterback in order to be what he was.
Who helped him do that?
The coaching staff.
And who else? So he learned absolutely nothing from Favre.
I'm pretty sure
you're sitting him behind Sam Bradford.
Hold on a second.
You don't think he's a threat to Sam Bradford
is
at
not
all?
The quarterback's coach. He's helping him. He's helping him along the lines.
I know
but he's
I'm
not
a new football fan, but I understand what a quarterback coach is.
He's not responsible for the development of the quarterback behind him.
Understood.
He's going to help him as much as he can, but he still needs to prepare for the games. Still needs to do what he has to do for his team to win, Chris.
Do you think this is a quarterback competition?
It shouldn't be.
So no matter what, Sam Bradford is the star. If that's the understanding, then that's the understanding. But from what I understood is when they went and got the guy at number 2, obviously Sam Bradford felt threatened.
He shouldn't. He shouldn't.
Well, they need to reassure him that. I think that was maybe the lack of communication.
During this time of impasse,
they went and got a guy with the number 2 pick,
to be their starting quarterback. If you can't beat out a rookie quarterback from a small program that's considered a project, then maybe you shouldn't be starting in the NFL. Either way, here's the bottom line, right? He got, $22 million guaranteed? He got paid.
The money. I mean, he's been getting money unjustly from the beginning. He was the last of the cash-out quarterbacks.
I don't have a problem with especially in the NFL.
Rookie quarterbacks. He's the last of the cash-out rookie quarterbacks.
I don't have a problem, especially in the NFL where the contracts aren't guaranteed. I don't have a problem with.
You don't.
Hold on. I don't have a problem with players in the last year of their deal making a fuss and trying to set themselves up after that.
Okay.
But if you have anything more than 1 year left on your deal, shut the heck up. Do what you signed to do and play the game. He signed just this year, signed a 2-year deal. If they sit you, they give you all that money to sit.
But that's us speaking as fans who aren't, you can't tell. That's the whole money versus love thing. You're paid. You shouldn't be upset. You're paid.
Don't forget
you're making $22 million.
The NFL is a business, Chris.
Yeah, and I understand that, but there's still athletes who play the game because they love to play the game.
If that's the
more
case,
than athletes, they're competitors.
If that's the case, he would have went somewhere else for less money.
I don't understand that.
It's that simple.
I don't agree with that.
It's that simple. They gave him a lot of money, Chris.
So because he has
journeyman money.
So because he has the money, he needs to just shut up and just sit there.
2-year deal, yes.
All right, look, that's how you feel. That's how you feel, brother. Let's move on to the NBA playoffs, JT. Right. We'll agree to disagree again. NBA playoffs. Where should we start, JT? I mean, there's so much going on.
You're the host, sir.
Boring NBA playoffs that everybody claims are so boring with these boring series. Maybe we should start off with the sweep. Maybe we should start off with the tied up Thunder Spurs. Let's start off with the tied up Thunder Spurs series.
Let's get LeBron out the way. How can we do that, please?
Really?
Yes.
You guys ready for this?
Because I know D is going to put Chris is bringing LeBron up thing music. So go ahead, D, let that play.
Look,
bringing LeBron
I'll say this.
Bringing LeBron up. Chris is bringing LeBron up.
I told y'all we was going to win the championship, right?
I don't think anybody debated that.
Yes, JT.
Hold on
JT, you mocked me. You mocked me.
Do we need to go back?
I wish this camera was close enough so I could show you guys what JT texted me after game, what was it, 2 or 3? No, it was game 2 when JT sent out a text to the group chat. Oh, what's the miracle that Chris didn't jump in the group chat claiming how the Cavs are now the world champions because they hit 25 threes? 25 3-pointers, a playoff record.
I said crown. What's the miracle he didn't say? He didn't crown them champions right now.
And what did I? This is hilarious. What did I post earlier that night?
I didn't see that
Facebook?
post.
You didn't see what I put in the group chat after you said that?
I did afterwards.
What did I say?
You had something that you posted on the social media.
What was that something that I said, JT?
I don't remember.
It was that this is a complete aberration. It's fun to watch, but I don't believe that this would happen again. Little did we both know that I'd be wrong because it happened again. And it happened again.
They beat the team that they've beaten now 11 straight times.
To my credit, I wasn't the fanboy that JT claims that I am. Because while he was jumping in the group chat claiming that I was going to go crazy because the Cavs hit 25 threes, blew the Hawks out of water, I was being calm, cool, and collected, the neutral fan that I am, and saying how this was an aberration. I did not believe that this was what the Cavs usually do. I was wrong because they did it right the next game. But can I just get some love? Because I get mocked constantly for being this LeBron fanboy.
I have a question for you.
Go for it.
Who did I say was going to be representing the East in the finals?
I don't remember.
Oh, now you don't remember.
I don't remember.
Every show. This is funny because
I don't remember.
You know why? Because when we
originally
talk about the Raptors,
we just talked about
when we talk about the Raptors,
we both said we didn't believe that the Raptors could.
And when would they meet them? In the Eastern
Not
Conference
necessarily.
Finals.
I believe the Heat are going to play the Cavs.
And even when we spoke about the Heat, we said the Heat is probably the only team that maybe can give them a run. Maybe and make it a series. Not even
what
beat
is
them.
your point, brother?
My point
what
is,
you saying that you
my
thought?
Point is that
because
the
I think
Cavs,
everyone believes the Cavs are going to the finals.
My point is this. What text did I send you yesterday?
I'm the only person that believes that we're going to win.
What text did I send you yesterday? I said the Cavs are what we thought they were, which is by far the best team in the Eastern Conference. I don't know why it takes. I don't know why we.
But that's not my point. That's not my point. Is you mocking me about being a Homer LeBron fan, which you literally say out your mouth all the time.
Because you are.
And it's not true. I'm literally telling you what's going to happen. It's happening. I'm staying calm throughout the big moments. And you're still calling me this fake, phony LeBron fan.
I didn't say you were fake or phony. I just say you're a LeBron lover.
Look,
I'm not saying you're fake.
Because I'm a LeBron fan?
You love you some LeBron.
You hate LeBron.
I don't like
You hate on LeBron.
I don't like LeBron, no.
Look.
I respect him.
Who's the league MVP?
Steph. He just won it again.
Who's the best player in the league, JT?
Have I not said LeBron is the best player in
I
the
don't
league?
think LeBron's the best. Well, nah, I'm not gonna lie. Now I do.
There, okay. Who's blowing
all
the gas
season,
now?
all season. Look, I'll say this, and this is what I said. Why I said let's make our predictions, because I said I held back because of this, and I'll never do this again because I didn't want to be ridiculed. I didn't want to come off extra fanboy and homer. But I believe that the Cavs, although they seemed uninspired throughout the season, I believe that they were kind of playing possum. I seen so many signs of what this team could potentially be throughout the season, even though I got extremely frustrated with them at different points in the season. I believed and I know what LeBron is capable of and his team is capable of playing at their best. And they're showing it now. They're showing it. And now all of a sudden, oh, they're looking like they can play against the Warriors. Oh, everybody's jumping on the bandwagon now. And everybody believes in LeBron and believes in LeBron's the best player in the league now, according to JT. And
did I not say that?
Look,
how many times did we put? Even in my top 5,
JT
LeBron
had
was
the Warriors going 82-0 this year. Now LeBron's the
Now
best
I
player
had
in
the
the
Warriors
league.
going 82-0. Oh boy,
Look,
he's being Dave, folks.
I'll say this.
Don't be there.
I'll say this. I'm excited. It's still Detroit. It's still the Atlanta Hawks. I really, really want to see the Miami Heat make it, regardless of who we play in the East. I believe that the Cavs are going to make it. I say we to those who are new or maybe new. I'm obviously a LeBron fan. I'm not a Cavs fan. I'm a LeBron fan. So, yes, I was a fan of the Heat when he was in Miami. Yes, I was a fan of Cleveland when he's in Cleveland. And, yes, I am a fan of the land now that he's back. And if he goes somewhere else, I'll be rooting for him there too. So, I'm not afraid to say that. I have favorite players in this league, not a favorite team. That's because I'm from New York City, who until a couple years ago had one horrible, miserable, awful, disgusting, despicable, embarrassing team. Anyway, let's talk about the Thunder and the Spurs, JT, who we both got wrong because I think after game 1, we both called them dead because of the poor performance. Now, you and I have gone back and forth on plenty of occasions about who the best player on the Thunder currently is.
I think we saw yesterday clearly.
Not so fast, JT, because I have some stuff for you, brother.
Okay.
Shoot. Last night, Kevin Durant dropped 41 points, 4 assists, right? They got the W in OKC, correct?
They sure did.
He looked like the leader. He looked like, the win was because of him. Are you comfortable saying that?
I think it was a combination of him.
Oh. There
Whenever
are 2 players on this team.
Whenever you're done,
Go for it. Okay. Go for it.
I think it's a combination of him and his teammate who decided to play more like a point guard. Racked up 15 assists. The team shot pretty well. He didn't. Still bricked 13 shots, but he focused on playmaking.
You sound like Skip Bayless.
He focused on playmaking, and he got the ball to the best scorer in the league right now, and that man did his thing.
Okay, so I'll say this. I always struggle with his name.
I do too.
Russell Westbrook scored on or assisted on 82 points of the Thunder's points last night. You know what that accounted for? 74% of the Thunder's points. That means that team went how he went. That means he is the leader of that team. That means when he plays well, Durant plays well, in terms makes the team play well. And usually when you're that person who accounts for so much offense and so much production on the team, you're usually considered the best player on the team. JT?
You're wrong.
Okay, tell me why.
Don't say he scored or assisted on 70 points.
He scored or assisted on 82 points.
He shot 5 for 18. You want me to do the math to see what that comes out to? It's probably like around 20-something%.
Okay, but he had 14 points.
He had
and
15 assists.
15 assists.
He played a playmaker role.
Those 15 assists got Kevin Durant 41 points.
He played a playmaker role, and he got the best player on his team the ball to score and carry them in the fourth quarter like he did. Bingo.
Look, I'll say this.
Drop the mic.
When you account for 82 points of your team's, 111 it was? 111 points last night? Don't have it here. When you're 74% of the reason your team is scoring, when you account for all that production, that means you're the major cog in that machine.
Okay.
You can argue that? I mean, that's not.
I said he had a good game, and I said the reason why I give him credit is
so when he accounts for 74% of his team's points, when they come out with the victory, when Kevin Durant looks the way he looks right there, it's not due to Russell Westbrook. It's just due to because of how good Kevin Durant is.
He played a part.
Kevin Durant can drop 41 points in his sleep. That doesn't equal a win.
He played a part, and he played his part, which is to get everybody involved. The team, as a team, they shot, 50%? Waiters, 7 for 11. Foy, 2 for 3. I mean, nobody shot terrible except one person.
Who was the leading assister on that team?
Russell Westbrook.
Because you're a point guard, and you say he needs to be more of a point guard and this and that.
And
so
look at that, they win.
When he does it, and he's the best player on the team, they win.
They win because he played like a point guard. That's why they won.
So just because you can score a lot of points like Kevin Durant means you're the best player. So points equal greatness now. That's how we going, JT?
No.
Because what else does Kevin Durant do? Kevin Durant is mellow. This is something I've been saying for a long time. He's a little younger, a little fresher, but they do the same things.
He's more efficient than Melo too, and I'm a Melo fan.
We agree on that. There's ups and downs on each, correct?
Right.
But what I'm saying is all Kevin Durant does is provide you with points. Tell me what else he does. You hear those? Oh, those grasshoppers was coming.
He gets rebounds, and obviously he doesn't, give you the assist that Russell Westbrook does. My problem is not that Russell Westbrook.
So when you judge a player as an all-around player, who's the better all-around player, JT?
Who's the better all-around player?
Who's the better all-around player,
Kevin
JT?
Durant.
Tell me why.
Because
what does he do more than Westbrook?
Physically?
Scores. No.
Hold on.
No.
Are you going to let me talk?
Go ahead.
You're going to ask me a question? Or are you just going to keep cutting me off?
Because you try to wiggle through. You never give me straight up answers. You always hit me with this sideways stuff. That shit. You good at that, JT. You're so good at that, yo. I need to get that from you to move further in this business. Because I need to know how to wiggle my way out of questions the way you do.
Is it my go yet?
Go for it.
Okay. Can the co-host talk?
Go for it.
I know I'm just the co-host.
Go for it.
All right. All I'm saying is this. I'm not saying Westbrook is trash. I'm not saying he's not good. All I'm saying is when he gets his head straight and he plays the way he's supposed to play, because he's the point guard of that team,
like the best player
gets his team involved, then yes, he could be. But just like what you said with Damian Lillard, which we'll get into later, he's inconsistent.
He's more consistent than he almost averaged a triple-double this year.
He's inconsistent. When he plays like a point guard, when he gets his teammates involved, when he's trying to win instead of going for his numbers, he can be the best player on his team. But until he does that, he's not. Kevin Durant is the best player on the team.
So we can agree on it waivers. At times, he's the best player on the team.
Right.
Because Kevin Durant is inconsistent with what he does, which is scoring, which is dominating, which is taking over games.
Inconsistent?
Yes.
One of the most efficient scorers of all time, but okay. You can call it what you want.
All right. So we'll move on to the Blazers and the Warriors. I think that...
Can we make that, real quick, can we make that a poll on a webpage?
Great, let's do it.
Who's the better player between KD and Russell Westbrook?
We'll get to our last poll in a second. But
can we do that?
Yeah, we'll do that. Okay. We'll send that to Captain Crunch, to Vinny Serio.
Everybody, please check in.
This week's poll will be who is the best player on the Thunder, Kevin Durant or Russell Westbrook.
Please, let's
and I hope you guys,
I won the last poll, by the way, but we'll get back to that.
We'll get back to that. Okay. Because I'm going to blow him out the water with that one.
Let's do this.
All right, so let's move on to the Blazers and the Warriors. They matched up again this weekend, and I don't know what to think about this series, really, because you have a Golden State team who, to me, and I have to be honest, they're just not as entertaining to watch without Steph Curry. I struggle watching these games. I know you scoreboard watch because your team is not in the playoffs. They're usually not in the playoffs. And you don't watch when your team is not in the playoffs. I understand that.
I did watch.
Actually, I don't understand because my team is
I did watch the OKC San Antonio game. Oh, by the way, that's one other thing I forgot to put in there, and I hate to go back, but just real
Go
quick.
ahead, shoot your shot. Shoot your shot.
I don't think the series is as close. I meant to say this. Is as close.
That is something I was interested for you to say because you brought that up.
I don't think the series is as close as what the numbers indicated, being tied at 2, because I did watch this game yesterday. And San Antonio missed a lot of open shots that they normally make.
So is that what's going on?
It wasn't
because
defense.
The first game.
It wasn't defense that was making a miss. When you're open and you're missing, that's on you.
Yeah, of course. So is that it? Is the age and attrition coming up? What's the Spurs? Are they worn out? Is it the grind? Is it? What is it, do you think? Because the first game, I was under the impression that the series was over because of how great were they just hitting? Because we called it. We were both like, this one's over. I wouldn't be surprised if they got swept.
They're still the better team. I'm just saying.
Yeah, without a doubt.
I'm just saying that they should be up, probably 3-1 right now.
Really? Yes. So you think one of those games OKC really just played better?
the game where Dion Waiters.
Oh, that was a mess. That was a steal.
Oh my gosh.
This series should be over.
It should be 3-1 right now.
Okay.
All right, let's just go for it. I'm sorry, I didn't mean
Blazers Warriors. You said that you believed that this was going to be a close series, regardless.
I thought that the Blazers, even if Steph played, could at least win one game, maybe 2.
I mean, I think that's easy to say. I wouldn't say that's jumping off the ledge.
I didn't think they were going to get swept.
I did. I thought they would
without
be swept.
Steph Curry?
No.
Okay.
Once Steph went down, I knew that's when I leaned more towards them maybe winning a game. I wouldn't be surprised if they got 2 at home. I wouldn't. Like you brought up, the point you brought up about the atmosphere in Portland.
Always been a good
Damian Lillard performs better at home. And my issue, like I told you with him, is just the inconsistency. You know, he shows signs of being an all-star caliber player at times, and other times he's held to look really pedestrian.
But he's the reason why I say that even with Steph, they could have won a game or two because he has the potential. He's one of those guys that have the potential to win a game on his own.
Well, this is one of my thing about the MVP, this year's MVP, Steph Curry, who was crowned today, actually, is what he does on offense, I think, takes so much out of his defenders. It interrupts their offensive flow. And I think that's something that made the difference in this series with Lillard playing at the level he's playing now without Steph. I know he wasn't there from game one, but what I'm saying is it's easier for Damian Lillard to be Damian Lillard when he's not guarding a Steph Curry. I think that's the biggest difference. It's not necessarily that Damian Lillard can't necessarily perform or play up to the level that he can offensively. It's that the toll that guarding a Steph Curry or worrying about a Steph Curry takes on you as a defender compromises your offensive game. That's what I was talking to you about the all-around game when we were talking about him in the past.
And normally I agree 120%. But I think Portland presents kind of a weird look because him and McCollum are kind of similar sized, and they can take turns, chasing these guys around.
Aminu has been a pleasant surprise in this series.
He has, but I wouldn't count on him, sustaining.
Exactly, it's not gonna
sustaining it. No.
So I mean, looking forward, they're playing tonight, 10:30 tonight. It's in Portland.
In Portland.
Who do you think wins this game, JT? And I guess, you know what I wanted to do too? I also thought about the fact that we do this show weekly. So, we can't just predict tonight's games. I think we should look ahead and give our thoughts on the upcoming games throughout the series because they're not going to hear back from us. You guys aren't going to hear back from us until next Monday.
Right.
So I think we should go ahead and look forward to the series. Let's predict the series.
And I think Golden State wins tonight, and they'll probably close it out.
They play again Wednesday night.
They'll probably close it out Wednesday.
So you think they take tonight and then take Wednesday? Because you expect them to win the game. They got their game. They're good. I wouldn't be surprised if Portland won tonight. I wouldn't be surprised. And again, I knew this would happen. I guess it's so hard to judge with Steph Curry out because they're not their real selves without Steph. And it takes so much more from Clay and so much more from Draymond and so much more from Harrison and Andre Iguodala. All the other guys have to step up so much more to fill in all that Steph provides for them. So it's a different team. But I would say that I thought eventually this season and the wear and tear of that record and things would catch up to them. You know what I'm saying? I think they dodged a bullet not having to face the Clippers. Not saying that I thought the Clippers would beat them, but I think that was one of the only other teams who could give the Golden State Warriors a real hard
good matchup
time
for them.
Yeah.
But they ended up losing two players too.
So injuries again. I just hate how injuries take so much. What is it about nowadays that these injuries are making? I mean, you think back to the 90s and you think back to the, in the past.
They had their issues.
Yeah, but it didn't seem as much, and it wasn't the stars. We always got our stars in the playoffs, and we weren't resting. These guys are resting. They're taking games off. They're sitting, and we still have major players going down in the playoffs, and I think it has such an effect on the outcome. I'm not going to say it's determining the champion or not because we haven't had that dramatic of an injury this year, unlike last year. But I'll say, it's still major players going down. And it is kind of reshaping the way the playoffs are looking because that Clippers, I think out of all the series, one of the two series, maybe the three we're looking forward to the most.
They'd be playing the Warriors right now.
Yeah, we were looking forward to Clippers Warriors.
Right.
We were looking forward to eventually Spurs Warriors, and of course Warriors Cavs. So I think them not seeing the Clippers helped them out. And whatever that gave them got taken away by Steph going down. So this is going to end up being a little more of a fight. In closing, I know I drug that out. I think they're going to lose tonight.
Think the Blazers will win?
I think the Blazers will take tonight, just being at home. And then I think Wednesday and Friday night, that Golden State will finish it out. And I think by Wednesday and Friday, we'll have Steph back. And I think that's going to be the difference again. I'm assuming. I don't know that Steph will be back.
I just want Steph to be 100%.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying about.
If they drag out the series a little longer if they have to. I just want them 100%.
Okay, moving forward.
Toronto, Miami.
Toronto and Miami. We had some serious injuries. Yeah, we had Jonas Valanciunas go down, which has really been one of their anchors for Toronto Raptors, and Hassan Whiteside. And Dan Le Batard brought up an interesting conversation about Whiteside and his potential free agency coming and risking it because in game, was it 1 or game? This is game 4. That was game 3. I think it was game 2 that Whiteside went down with a little knee tweak, and it looked a lot worse than it ended up being. And the question behind that was, is it worth the risk? What are some of the questions that you would ask going into free agency, playing in the playoffs? And this is his first big contract now. Let's talk about that. This isn't a guy who's made millions over his career. This is his first big contract he's playing for. And this is a journeyman. He's played in the D-League. He's played across seas. This is his first payout. And it's reportedly going to be a $100 million contract. Do you risk it? You made a face because you don't think Hassan Whiteside deserves $100 million?
No. He'll probably get it because of the market.
In this climate,
he might get it because of the
$100
market. He's not worth. He's a new age Tyson Chandler. Rebound, block shots, dunk the ball.
I'm trying to think. I would give him a little more credit than that. I think he's more athletic than Tyson Chandler's ever been.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I think he's one of those. He's the hybrid. He's that new age big man who can.
He has no offensive skill whatsoever.
Yet he's still young, also. And these guys get paid off potential. If you can potentially be, that's what we're paying.
The CBA being the way it is, that's why I said he'll probably get his money. But I don't think he's worth it.
Would you risk it? Would you risk it?
If I'm him?
Yeah. Would you risk it? Because it's a serious injury now. According to reports, it's like it's similar to what Steph Curry's going through.
Probably not.
So you would sit out the rest of the playoffs?
I would sit out if I had to this series.
Well, they've said they doubt he's coming back this series.
Okay.
But what I'm asking you is, how much would you give? Like, how risky would you take this?
It depends. Do
you think the Heat will win an NBA championship? Are they good enough with Whiteside to win the NBA championship?
Probably not.
Do you think he thinks that? I don't think so.
But here's where you see how injuries can play a role. Like, you just never know. Like, who would have thought that the Blazers would be playing the Warriors right now?
True.
All it took was Chris Paul going down, and that was it.
Yep.
There they go. Who's to say that somebody else might not get hurt in the Warriors? You got to play the games.
That's
what I would do is I would go by what the doctors tell me. If the doctors say, listen, this can linger, but you're not going to make it any worse, then I would try to play. If they say you have potential to damage yourself for the future, then I'd probably chill out.
Is a championship on the level of importance? What's more important, your first big contract or NBA championship? What are you willing to give up for an NBA championship, JT?
That depends on everybody's their own person.
I'm asking you. What do you think is appropriate? Because I think for me, this is a hard question. I'm trying to think in my head.
I would probably try to play just because of the person I am. But I've always been that.
You got a family. You got kids. This is your first $100 million contract, JT.
Right. But it's not like he's not going to get
You were the same guy, football guy. I guess it's because this is a different sport. I guess because it's a different sport. You're the same guy who tells Bradford to shut up and sit down because he's paid, but he's a competitor. And that's what you're bringing out right now. You're a competitor. You're playing to win the game.
I said I would play.
I understand that. But you're also the same guy who told Bradford to sit down and shut up and be happy with the money. So what I'm saying is you have that competitor mindset for that, but you have a shut up and sit down and take the money mindset for that. What I'm saying is Bradford wants to compete. Wow. He wants to play. He wants to be the starter.
This is where you're wrong.
You don't understand that because he got his money. But now you're sitting here saying, I'm a competitor.
If he's a competitor, he should beat out that rookie.
What I'm saying is he can't be satisfied with the money. You're telling him to sit down and shut up and be happy he got paid.
If he can't beat out the rookie,
I'm telling you he's a competitor.
Yes.
He wants to play.
If he can't beat out the rookie, he should sit down and shut up.
But what I'm saying was you said he should sit down and shut up and take the money.
Regardless, if that's what they tell him to do, yes.
But he's a competitor. He's a competitor.
Then beat that rookie. Then beat that rookie.
I hear you. It's not apples to apples, but look, my first $100 million contract, man. I got a family. I got a girl.
Right.
I got a.
Let me ask you this. Here's my question to you. Is he going to go from $100 million to zero?
Here you go again with the counting people's pockets. Bro, I don't care if it's $5 million or $100 million. Everybody wants $100 million.
Worst case scenario.
I'm not going to be happy with $5 million if I knew potentially I could have won $1 million.
Worst case scenario, he'll just get
When you play lotto and you get $5, are you happy knowing that you just missed $1 million jackpot? No. You'll take it. We'll take it. But you're not saying here like, oh, $1 million, I got $5.
Worst case scenario, he'll sign a short-term deal and he'll have time to
this is his first big contract, JT. He ain't got time. He's
not going to be out the league, Chris. He's not going to be out the league.
We don't know how serious this injury is.
But I started this conversation by saying that if it's potential to damage him further, then I wouldn't do it.
Okay, so you're saying if the doctor said, look, you can play on it, but there's a risk. Let's say that the doctors say this. There's a 50-50 chance, bro.
That you'll never be the same?
That you can tear your knee up, right? You could. Some guys have played because you know that. I had knee surgery. They tell you, I can't guarantee you anything. This is most likely how this works. Some people's bodies react this way. Some people's bodies react that way. Some people are faster healers. Some people are slower healers, right? So if a doctor gives you a 50-50, he's like, look, it's 50-50. If you want to take the risk, if you guys believe you can win the championship this year, you never know what happens, play the game, go for it. But I'm telling you, there's a 50% chance you'll make it. There's a 50% chance your knee is going to be shot.
If I'm advising him, I would tell him not to do it. But me personally, I would do it. That's what you asked me.
And risk $100 million.
Yes.
Because in the back of your head, I can still get 20.
If I have a chance to win a chip, and the consolation prize is I don't win a chip, but instead of $100 million, I'll get $15, $20 million, and then still have a chance.
So let's say the consolation is he breaks his leg and he can never play basketball again. Now what?
Then it's
50-50 chance.
I said
there goes those chirps again.
I would do it.
Okay. That's it for the playoffs, right? That's what we got here. We got some coaching vacancies, right,
Okay.
JT? Indiana Pacers, they fired Frank Vogel. You think that was a travesty. Apparently Eric Spoelstra did too. And he's had a couple interviews right away. I'm hearing maybe Houston or Memphis are really interested in Frank Vogel. Where do you think he fits better?
He would be great in Memphis. He would be great in Memphis.
I think Houston would be a good
That
look.
team's already built for him. Houston's...
Let me tell you why I think Houston. And I'll say this. I'll say because he was really successful with a star like Paul George, right?
Paul George is not James Harden.
JT.
Paul George is not James Harden.
Paul George is not James Harden, or James Harden is not Paul George?
Paul George is not, and when I say, I'm not talking about talent, I'm talking about the kind of athlete that he is, head-wise. Paul George is not James Harden.
I'm just trying to get the negative positive out of this. Where's the negative?
The negative is Harden doesn't have the mentality.
Here we go, baby. This is going to segue right into what I want to talk about.
Doesn't have the competitive nature that Paul George does. Paul George.
It's so funny how a season ago we were talking about this guy as the MVP of the league.
Paul George.
I'm not even going to jump into that point yet.
Of the court, gives it all on both ends.
I can't argue that. I can't argue that.
So
but
then there's no argument.
James Harden is superior offensively. Superior offensively.
Yes.
Superior offensively than Paul George. Although Paul George does it on both ends, which counts for something.
And it's not even just that.
James Harden is superior to Paul George offensively.
I don't think it's that much more.
I do.
I don't think it's that much
I
more.
do.
Hold on. You're the same dude
I love
sat
Paul
here
George.
last week.
Yes, you're right.
And saw this dude carry his
But
team.
I didn't say he was James Harden, who was arguably the MVP last season.
Come on, man. Here's the other issue.
Has Paul George ever been considered for the MVP?
Here's the other issue.
Oh, no, he won Most Improved Player. Okay, that puts it in perspective.
Here's the other issue: is that Paul George, I think, is going to be by far the more coachable player. He's more willing to play in a structured system than James Harden, who's just going to dribble, run around picks.
Is it that James Harden is this bad guy and he can't be coached, or is it the lack of...
He got his coach fired already.
Okay. He got his coach fired, or he wanted his coach fired?
He got his coach fired.
He got his coach fired. Unjustly, we agree on that, right?
And there's stories left and right that I'm reading that he wanted Mikhail out.
Yeah, but you had Harden there. I mean, you had Dwight Howard there. You have who? Give me another.
He wants Dwight out too.
Give me another B-level player on that team.
Another B-level player.
Yep. There goes those grasshoppers again.
I don't know what to tell you, bro.
Chirping.
We agree.
Give me
another B-level player on the Pacers.
We agree that Harden is a superstar.
Give me another B-level player on the Pacers.
That's my point.
Crickets.
That's my point, JT. That Frank Vogel can do what he did with the Pacers in Houston. But he can be that successful.
That's if James Harden lets him. Who's to say James Harden's gonna be like, I don't like this system.
Who's to say he's not?
Take more shots.
Who's to say he is gonna do that?
You already seen what he did. He got
that was a different coach in a different system.
Paul George did not do that.
Oh, because he gave him a goodbye letter?
No, because he did what he was coached to do.
Did he go in the office and say, I don't want this coach fired? He's the star of the team, right? More crickets.
I don't think
because apparently LeBron, the star of the team controls who the coach is, right? But Paul George is the star. Obviously, you just said there's no other B player. He's a star. He's such a superstar. Why didn't he go fight for his coach?
Difference, and we discussed this before. What did you say was the difference between LeBron and Cleveland and Miami? Who runs things in Miami?
Who are you going to say, Larry Bird?
Pat Riley.
No, I
Who runs
understand
things
that.
in Indiana?
Larry Bird.
Larry Bird. Instant credibility. The owner of the
Buck
team.
stops there.
The owner of the team is not going to say nothing against this dude.
Touche.
I'm using your own argument
Don't
against
sweat your ball head up.
Drop the pen.
Next opening. So you think Vogel should end up in Memphis?
I think he'll be great in Memphis.
Memphis is a horrible job. Conley might not even stay.
Conley's not
they
going
got
there.
Marcus.
I don't think he's going.
Now you feel like that because he's not going to the Knicks. Now we all know Conley's not going to the Knicks. So now
I didn't.
He can't. If he doesn't want to go here, he can't be going anywhere else because everybody wants to play in New York City.
Now you're being they.
Anyway,
Don't be they.
Grizzlies open position. You think Frank Vogel? What about the Pacers? Who should get that job? Who would you like to see there? Larry Bird, Kevin McHale's been thrown out there. Bird shot those rumors down. He said McHale's my friend. He couldn't work for me. It'd be a conflict of interest.
I don't think. I agree. I don't think
the Pacers job. I mean, we obviously have a superstar in Paul George there, but what else? You have Miles Turner, who's a pretty good player, right? George Hill.
Probably on a downward.
Who else do we have there to really? Ronnie Stuckey?
Monte Ellis.
Monte Ellis is what, 30-something
I'm
years
not
old
saying
with
he's
a
great.
three-year
I'm just putting names out there.
Who would want that job? Is that a good job? It's not a good job.
I mean, there's people out there that want to work.
I mean, of course, somebody will take you. We know somebody will take it.
I got a dark horse figure for you.
Okay. Let me see if he's
Larry Bird seems to want more offense.
True. That's what he said. He wants to. That's why he got rid of Vogel.
I can't think of a more offense-minded, no defense coaching coach than Mike D'Antoni.
Oh my gosh, that'd be a mess. Paul George might like that. That actually might be a really good idea.
Whoa. Are you saying that I might have come up with a good idea?
Nah, I didn't say that.
Okay, all right. That's what I thought.
All right, so the Knicks. You know what? Let's do them last because that's gonna.
I have a soliloquy. I have a whole rant on it.
I was hoping you did. So the Rockets. You don't think that? You know who I would like to see there? Mark Jackson. I was thinking Mark Jackson too. The issue with he has some defense. His offense is but he preaches defense. You have a scoring god there, right? You have James Harden who can make up get you a bucket with his hand tied behind his back, right? He gets to the line. He's a great offensive threat. He would get the respect in that issue of coaching and listening. You have a former player and a guy like Mark Jackson, who's an established guy in the league to be there.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
How great would that be?
I was thinking Mark Jackson too, only because back to what I was telling you with James Harden and being coachable. I think that's somebody that
he got to respect. How about Jeff Van Gundy returning to Houston? I just think the only issue, I think Jeff Van Gundy is a great coach. I think obviously he's had a great tenure with the New York Knicks. He had a coaching stint with.
He had a really good tenure with the Rockets before.
Yeah, I was gonna say with the Houston Rockets. So he's been there. He lives there. I just think he might be a little outdated. I don't think he's today's kind of coach. He's that '90s coach that we're used to. I don't know how him and Harden would. You understand what I'm saying? Just like you said,
he would be good if Dwight was staying there, which we all know he's not.
Dwight. Why?
Because what he would do is he would let Dwight get back to what Dwight likes doing, which is getting the ball a little bit in the post, doing this thing, whatever. Instead of
I think with a player like Harden, you can't not have the ball in his hands. I just don't think they can mesh well. Him, Harden, and whoever coach, whatever system. Howard's a ball-dominant big man who needs to get it dumped in a lot and will kick it out to shooters. But Harden is the type of player who's ball-dominant.
But I think anything is better than what he turned into in Houston. I'm talking about Dwight here.
Yeah.
He basically turned into another Tyson Chandler, just set picks and dive to the basket. Because
you're killing my guy, Tyson Chandler.
I like Tyson Chandler, but that's literally all he does is set picks, dive to the basket for oops. And that's all he did. When I watched those Rockets games, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. He didn't get the ball in the post at all. It was just run pick and rolls for James Harden all day, or just clear out the way and let James Harden dribble for like 22 seconds and then chuck up a shot.
All right, so these last three topics that we have are all going to mesh in. It's going to give you a chance to rant. If you guys are just now joining us, you can join us online. JT hates when I do this.
Here we go.
Because he doesn't do it. He doesn't do social media. He doesn't share anything. He doesn't promote. He just comes in, tries to look pretty, and does the podcast. While I, on the other hand, put together the show, come up with the topics, run our Facebook, run our Instagram, run our Twitter, have to promote, have to share, have to beg people to listen, begging you guys to listen and give us a chance and check us out on SoundCloud, on iTunes, FTLOTG Sports, at FTLOTG Sports for Instagram and for Twitter. And check out Vin's hard work on FTLOTGsports.com. But if you guys have been on any of those and checked out our past episodes, you know JT is a New York homer. New York homer.
Don't deny it.
He does epic Nick rants. And these are so necessary because this joke of a franchise just continues to provide us with material. So this is something we enjoy talking about.
Oh, boy.
Speaking of coaching vacancies, I'll kill two birds with one stone.
Please do, sir.
The Knicks have a coaching vacancy. I don't know why anyone would dare want to coach this horrible franchise. Not the players, not Melo. I'm a big Melo guy. It's the organization. It starts from the top down. It's a joke. It's poorly run, poorly managed. I don't know what else to say. Phil Jackson's on vacation, JT. Soaking up some sun, enjoying it, taking a long, hard break from his strenuous, hard work of a year that he's put out. He thinks he did a really good job in the draft, and he's been working really hard. And what do you think about the Knicks vacancy, JT?
I think it clearly speaks to who he has in mind, who he wants to coach, who none of the Knicks fans want as a coach.
Who?
Kurt Rambis. Oh, man. And I, you know what?
It's got to be a
here's
joke.
The thing, right?
It has to be a joke.
I was into the whole Phil thing at first because I felt like he was somebody that Jim Dolan wouldn't interfere. He would let him do his thing. And that's one thing that we've said in the past is that the one problem we have with Dolan, he's willing to pull out the money, which is great. We love that. He takes the tax hits, luxury tax hits, and all that stuff. His problem is he's too involved. He gets too, he throws himself in, and he probably shouldn't. He should let his basketball people handle that.
Shouldn't.
The only person
now we're begging for him to intervene. Please, Jim. Please, Mr. Dolan.
Crazy.
Mr. Dolan. Mr. Dolan. Mr. Dolan.
That's
Please,
crazy.
come get this guy.
The only person that he really let do his thing before Phil was Isaiah Thomas. And so this time we're like, Phil, hands off, let Phil do his thing, and I was all for that.
Mm-hmm.
Phil's a basketball man; he should do a thing. My problem with Phil now is that I feel like Phil is in between land, and this is my theorizing for all of this. Okay, Phil physically he can't coach, and I think even if he wanted to, he wouldn't want to coach this team, but he wants to blur the line of running the team and coaching the team. So he wants the team to pretty much do what he would do as a coach without him being affected, his coaching record being affected by what they do on the floor. That's why he wants his boy Kurt in there. He wants his boy Kurt to do what he wants him to do so he could either prove the point that the triangle can still be successful or leave and it won't affect his coaching record whatsoever. And he'll go to the Lakers and he'll go with Jeannie Buss and I think that'll be when she kicks her brother out and lets Phil do his thing out there and so forth and so forth. So I think that's his problem is he couldn't check his ego at the door. He wants to do what he always had a problem with. He always had a problem with management in Chicago. He had a problem with management in LA. They didn't let him do his thing. They were too involved. And now he wants to do that. He wants to be that guy. And he wants to be the one that controls everything without it affecting his legacy in the game.
So how's it going?
How's it going? That's a man. I got that. It's not going well, man. I don't want Kurt Rambis as my coach. It's sad.
Phil's on vacation. Phil's on vacation, JT.
It's got to the point that my boy hit me up and he's like, would you take this person as coach? My boy Jared, would you take this person as coach? You take that every time he texts me that, I say yes.
Who
Anybody but Kurt is who I want to see. Anybody but Kurt Rambis.
Who would you like to see?
I would have liked Tom Thibodeau.
It's gone.
He's gone.
Luke Walton, gone.
Luke Walton, I was iffy on Luke Walton. Frank Vogel, I think, would be good here. I don't think
there's
we're going to
rumors of Frank Vogel with the Knicks, interest in the Knicks. But my thing is this. Why would any player or coach want to come to New York? Help me understand. Why would any player want to come here?
It's all lip service.
Phil's making it a mess. The Knicks are bad. They're poorly run. Why would any player want to come here?
It's all lip service. They're mentioning these characters. They're putting these.
Phil's on vacation.
He's not serious. He's not seriously considering all of these guys. He's not. I know it's just to pacify the New York crowd who don't want Kurt Rambis as the coach.
JT, Phil's on vacation.
He's on vacation because he knows what he wants. It sucks.
Melo. Should we trade Melo?
We spoke about this last week, and you're just gonna get on my case, whatever. I love Melo, and I would love for him to retire, Nick. But it's at the point where I kind of like I'm starting to feel bad for him. I would like to see him just to justify his place in his legacy in the game. I would like to see him win a chip.
Watch this, y'all. Melo for Harden trade. Would you take it?
No.
Why?
What do you mean why?
Who's the better player?
Melo.
Who's the better player?
Melo.
Okay, this is exactly what I wanted. So, JT, do you know what James Harden averaged this year? Take a wild guess.
I don't know, 25, 26 points a game.
Okay, what else? Don't look it up yet. Don't look it up yet. 25 points a game. How many assists you think he averaged? Take a wild guess.
5 or 6.
5 or 6 assists. Okay. 5 assists. And how many rebounds do you think he averages?
I got something for you too.
Okay, go for
Probably
it.
about maybe 4 or 5.
4 or 5 assists, right?
No, rebounds you said.
Rebounds, excuse me. Okay, JT. And now I want to ask you off the top of your head.
Okay.
How much points did Melo average?
Probably about 21 or 22.
21 or 22.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go 22. How many rebounds does Melo average?
Maybe about 7.5, close to 8.
And how many assists?
Probably about around 4.
4 assists. So, who's the better player?
Melo.
Carmelo Anthony's the better player. So you have Melo at 22.7 rebounds, 4 assists, correct?
Yes.
You have James Harden at 25, 5, and 5, right?
Yes.
So what if I told you James Harden's 29, 6, and 7?
You wouldn't be saying anything to me.
Why?
Because
Actually 7.5. So
the
we'll say 8.
Rockets are all
I'm not
Harden or
asking you
nothing.
about the Rockets.
No,
I'm asking you about James Harden.
No.
Who's the better
thing.
player?
You can't compare apples to oranges, Chris. If you're going to talk about these two, you got to talk about the systems they play
talking
in.
about.
We got to talk about the
You
systems
find
they
a way
play
to
in.
wiggle out of
No,
every question
I'm not.
I bring.
You got to talk
Every
about
question.
the system they play in.
I asked you who's the better player between
Melo
Carmelo
is the
Anthony
better
and James
player.
Harden, and you told me Carmelo Anthony. We
Melo.
have James Harden averaging 29, 6, and 7. And this is the second season in a row he's averaged just about that.
Right.
Right?
Right.
He's missed one game in the last 2 years, and it was due to suspension. Right? He led the league in minutes this year.
Mhm.
And you would prefer to have Carmelo Anthony on your team.
Yes.
Tell me why. And how does this make sense? Because you guys voted who the better player was. No, it was who plays more defense. That was the poll last week between Melo and James Harden. Because I made the point, everybody kills James Harden about his defense, right? Who's a perfect player? He got a lack somewhere. He's leading the team and leading the league in minutes. He's scoring 29 a night. He has 6 rebounds a game. Melo's barely getting the 6 rebounds a game. And 7.5, 8 assists a game. What else does he have to do? Serve the popcorn?
Can I go now?
Go for it. Because this is your wiggle out.
Yeah, it's always a wiggle out when it doesn't agree with what you got to say.
No, that's
but
not
here's
it.
the deal. Have you watched the Rockets game?
I have watched a few Rockets.
Lots of games, right?
I have watched
How
a
does the
few Rockets.
majority of the possessions go? Please tell me.
You're talking about systems
We're talking
and
about
plays.
systems.
We're talking about players
that
compared.
plays an
We're talking
integral
about
role.
who's the better
If you're
player,
gonna bring numbers up,
Melo or Harden.
You're
Bring Melo's point. Bring Melo's
You're not letting
stats
me go.
up. Back up your point because you're telling me he's a better player. I'm coming to you with stats, and you're coming to me about systems. So it's all the system fault that Melo averages what he averages.
If
That's
you're
what
going to bring stats into the game, then yes, the system affects that. Yes.
Okay.
It's a direct correlation to the stats that you put up, depending on the system that you're in.
Stats
That's
are-
why D'Antoni's teams always had elevated stats. That's why all of those teams, even players who weren't as good, put up way better stats in the D'Antoni system because of that system. Yes, system correlates to what you do. The numbers.
So how do
you
we
put up.
compare players, Jason?
And it's
Tell
funny
me how
because-
we
wait,
compare
hold on.
players.
I got a question for
How
you.
do we compare
I
players?
got a
Just answer
question
that
to you.
question for me.
Chris is funny because he wants to talk about numbers and comparing players, right? But when I brought up that comparison, and I was bringing up numbers of John Wall versus Kyrie Irving,
No,
we can't
talked.
talk about that.
We talked
We
about.
can't talk about that.
See,
John Wall had better numbers across the board.
You're right.
Except for maybe
Except
scoring.
for a couple.
Except for maybe scoring across the board. But you still went with Kyrie as the better player, which is fine. That's your opinion. But we can't talk about stats and the stats that people put up without talking about the systems that they play in.
So Melo averages 21.8, 4 assists, and 7 rebounds.
Yep.
He's injured every 5 games.
Now he's injured every 5 years. So now he's a Melo hater.
He's broken. Now I'm a Melo hater. I'm a big Melo guy.
Injured every 5
because I
games.
think James Harden's the better player.
Injured every 5
At
games.
this point, let's just be serious. Who's the better player, JT?
Melo.
That's ridiculous. Just tell me
Melo.
why. In lamest terms, tell me why.
Lamest term.
Because numbers don't lie.
I'm telling you.
This was the guy who was up for MVP last season.
You can't go by numbers.
So what do we go by, JT? Because we do a formula of numbers and everything. So
And
tell me what we go by. Tell me where Carmelo wins us. And I'm not a Carmelo hater. I love Melo. But we're being ridiculous when it comes to James Harden. It's unfair. And I finally made my case because I've let it go a couple weeks where you're killing me about being a James Harden guy and defending him, but I keep coming up with different points on why. And you're trying to belittle my point because I brought up stats, which you're notorious for doing. Notorious.
When I bring up stats, I also bring up.
I'm sorry, Melo played in 72 games this year.
I also bring but he took off every 5 games, so I don't know how that equals 72. But I guess by your logic.
How many games did he play last year?
By your logic,
how many games did he play the year before?
Last year was the first year he was seriously injured and missed a whole lot of games. I'm asking
you a question though.
I don't know how many games he played. Does it matter?
Yeah. Being there is half the battle. Yeah, it matters how many. If you're not available, availability is one of the most important things when it comes to athletes. If you're always hurt, that's a deterrent to you as a player. Melo's been injured. You're comparing 21, 4, and 7 to 29, 7, and 6, and telling me that Carmelo's a better player.
It's.
Let's look at your favorite, advanced. Let's take it there, because that's what you like to hit me with the PERs and all that, right? That's going to be the end-all be-all, right? Should it be JT? Yeah, no. Because I love when you use it to your advantage, it's awesome. But now that I've finally dabbled into the stats world, I've stuck my head into it. I did my research, and now you're downplaying my numbers that I'm coming up with. What's the Knicks offense look like usually? That's an intricate offense. That's right. The Knicks run the triangle.
He's gonna ask me questions and not let me answer.
The Knicks run the triangle,
which is a very deliberate and slow-paced offense compared to the pace that the Rockets play in. Push. Let James Harden chuck 40 shots a game. Yeah, he's gonna have better stats.
Let me find shots per game.
Please do.
Please let me.
I would love to see that.
I'm not a stats guy like this, so I'm diving into this. I would love to see that. Trying to find this. Keep the people entertained while I look. Can you do that, JT?
Yes. Chris right now is what is called being they. And he's like, he has some points here and there, whatever.
Oh, I have some points.
The funny thing is that, he sits there and he wants to ask questions and he wants me to rebuke or to back up what I got to say. But then as soon as I start, he immediately cuts me off.
Go for it. I'm quiet.
Immediately cuts me off and then starts bringing all this other stuff into it.
I have to fill. I don't like dead air. You get quiet a lot when I hit you with certain points.
No, I don't.
I have to keep it going.
There are times when I'm answering the question and you immediately cut me off.
All right, I'm quiet. Don't be there. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm not being there.
Go ahead. What did I cut you off from saying?
What I'm saying, and this is my comparison, right? When you discuss numbers, you need to discuss the systems that they play in, especially when you're talking about the Knicks who play in this boring freaking triangle offense, which is a slow, deliberate pace, and Melo's not getting the shots up that he would get in if he played with the Rockets. He would get a lot more shots up if they switch places. Harden will probably be doing the same thing Melo's doing right now.
That's a total assumption, though. Like we're talking on numbers and stats and stuff, and then you're hitting me with assume, I guess, educated guesses. That's what you're hitting me with. Can you help me find this PER, please? Because I'm struggling with these advanced stats because it's not my thing, JT. You know how to read this stuff. You dive deep into this, but I'm thinking you don't want to right now because you know my. Go ahead.
Wi-Fi is acting up right now, so
it's always this guy, man.
Yo, do you want to see? Man. Do you see the little circle right there, which means it's not finding it? Do you see that? Am I being they, folks? Do you want me to turn around? Look, everybody. I don't know if you guys can see this, but this is the good thing about being on video. You can see that I'm not bugging. You can see the little circle thing right there. That means
I don't want to drag this out.
Loading.
At the end of the day,
what that means.
We all agree that neither play good defense. JT seems to think Melo plays more defense.
He does
than James Harden.
Everybody else seems
just because there's more memes and stuff of James Harden. Not really, getting caught not playing great defense.
He even made a commercial making fun of himself.
So I guess that determines it. You guys voted on our website, FTLOTGsports.com, and you all voted that Harden plays worse defense. This week's poll will be the what? The Durant versus Westbrook?
Yes.
All right, so we'll leave that alone. I think I made my point. We'll let you guys chime in and tell us who killed who, because I think I killed JT with his own medicine. the stats and stuff he likes to hit me with. Yeah. Lucky I couldn't find that PER because that would have ended it right there. That's what we go off nowadays. A player's PER. He's going to find it right now. And when he finds it, he's not going to tell me if I'm right. So let's move on to the last topic we have before we get into Hate It or Love It, our favorite segment of the show. Knicks versus Lakers. This is a bet that JT brought to my attention that we had that I didn't pay up on. Similar to the bet that we had about the Minnesota Vikings making the playoffs this year, not being as bad as he said they would, that I, the non-football guy, predicted, called, and what? You found the PER?
It's not loading up, man.
So I have to pay up a bet that I completely forgot about, which is I have to wear a Melo jersey. So next episode...
Got to take a picture of the Melo jersey.
Look, I'll do you one better. Next episode, I will wear the Melo jersey on Facebook Live for our next episode next week. Whole episode... I don't have a problem with Melo. I mean, I wear relevant stuff to my team who's playing in the playoffs, but I'll make an exception to pay off the bet next week. Let's see if me and JT go to Chipotle and have lunch after, because then we'll both pay.
The problem is we got to do it before.
Whatever you want to do.
Okay.
Whatever you want to do. Knicks versus... Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, you were saying that you wear your stuff relative to your teams and how they do it.
In the playoffs.
At least you just made my point that we were talking with your boy, that helped us set up, that I'm not a fair weather fan. I wear my jerseys whether they win
I would never say that about you. I would never say that. You're a diehard. You're a diehard. Whatever that counts for.
Okay.
Knicks future versus the Lakers future. Who's looking like they have the brightest? This is another intense one that we completely disagree on, that we've gone back and forth about, but I think we should put something on it because...
we could do it real quick because I already know D is going to kill me the minute I say anything negative about the Lakers. I'm trashing the Lakers.
I think the Lakers have a better outlook only because I think they have a draft pick, and we all know at this point that they're not going to take that draft pick. They're going to trade it potentially to get a superstar, which could lead to them getting another superstar. So in short terms, because I talk so much, because JT is going to be the host of next episode, and I'm just going to be the co-host since I talk so much and don't let him talk, I'm going to say in short that the Lakers have the better outlook. I will put money, bet, whatever. Let's do a fun bet.
So you think you want to do a records bet again for next year?
Not necessarily. I mean, not even next year. We could just say whose future looks brighter. Who's going to look better faster? Who's going to be better faster? I think it's going to be the Lakers without a doubt because at least they have the chance to get. The Knicks are doomed. They're in worse. They're almost in worse. I mean, you have your star Porzingis, who we don't know is a star yet. But other than that, you have Melo, who you want to trade. Most of you Knicks fans don't even want or have been bashing Melo since the day he got to New York and wasn't LeBron. And that's it. You have nothing else. You don't have a coach. You don't have a system. You don't have players. The Lakers at least have a promising head coach. Well, not promising, but, potential-wise, he looks pretty good. We don't know who's comfortable, who's back home. He's a young, up-and-coming coach who's played on the championship level, or coached on the championship level team, led the team this year to, 39-4 record. So that's promising than anybody on the Knicks coaching staff right now. A potential top 3 draft pick.
Protected. Right? If it falls out of the top 3, they lose it.
They're screwed.
So then if they don't get that pick, then they're doing like the Knicks.
No, because regardless of the pick, I still believe that there are players who want to come to the Lakers, like DeMar DeRozan, like a potentially Paul George, if they do get that pick and can make that trade, give an offer worth the Pacers while, which is going to be really hard to do. Like a DeMarcus Cousins, again, who if gets that pick once out of Sacramento and would love to be in LA. You understand what I'm saying? There's guys who want to play with Luke Walton also. See that up-tempo offense, play that game. They have the brighter future than the New York Knicks. Tell me why I'm wrong, JT.
Okay, you're talking about them trading their pick to get somebody to go play for them. If they get Cousins.
And potentially signing someone because now they have another star. So my thing is, if you get the pick, let's say they get the number 1 pick, best case scenario, right? They have Luke Walton in place. They have the number 1 pick. They got Randall. They got Russell, right? They have Lou Williams off the bench. They have some pieces, young pieces, right? They have young pieces. They have LA. They have the coach, right? They have the up-tempo system, right? They get the star with the number 1 pick. Let's say for argument's sake, they get Paul George. Could they not attract the KD? Let's say they get DeMarcus Cousins. Could they not attract the KD? Following year, there's rumors Russell Westbrook wants to come home to LA. Those things potentially are more attractive than anything the Knicks can put together. They can't even get Phil's on vacation. Phil's on vacation. That's going to be the name of this episode if y'all keep playing with me. Phil's on vacation. JT.
Here's the problem. Excuse me. Here's the problem is that you think that they're going to just trade just the number 1 pick.
No, not necessarily.
A lot of those young guys that you say that they have on their team now.
That's Ben Simmons.
A lot of those young guys. It took more than just Andrew Wiggins to get Kevin Love.
What else they give up?
They gave up. Well, Bennett didn't turn out to be anything, but he was a former number 1 pick.
give up Randall.
They gave up more number 1 picks on top of that. They gave up more than just. They gave up future first round picks and all this other stuff. So you're gonna have to mortgage the future to get a legitimate star. Okay. So the one thing I'll give you is that
it depends on the desperation of the other team.
The one thing I'll give you is, as a destination, I believe that LA, probably because of the weather and stuff like that, and because it's Hollywood, it's. I don't think the media is as bad. They're one of the bigger markets, but it's not New York media. I don't care what you say. There's nothing like the New York Beast. Maybe the closest thing is Philly or something like that. As a destination, I could see people wanting to go there as opposed to going to New York, right? Because New York is not everybody is built for New York. But this is my rebuttal for your you can't talk about what's not there yet. So if we're going by the team right now,
so how do we forecast? How do we look forward?
You wait. We can't look. If we're gonna have this conversation, you can't.
So we got to wait to have the conversation. We can't forecast or predict or make predictions or anything.
Listen.
What's the point of a sports show if we just got to wait?
What's the point of asking me questions if I can't answer them?
I'm sorry, JT.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. You can't go by who might come, right? Because in 2010, all these teams thought they had a legitimate shot to get LeBron. LeBron might come. We got a good outlook. LeBron might come. We got a good outlook. You don't know. That's unknown. You can't count on the unknowns. I would have put money on an unknown. So if I'm looking at the teams right now, I think the best player is on the Knicks. I think the second best player is on the Knicks.
Wait. The best player on both teams is on the Knicks?
Yes, right now.
Okay.
Is that debatable? Is there somebody on the Lakers better than Melo? Please tell me. I know you're not a Melo fan, but please tell me.
No, I'm not a Melo fan. No,
who's
JT.
better? Okay.
There's not.
Who's better on the Lakers than KP? Think. Crickets. I was waiting for him to say something. I was daring him to say something.
I almost did.
So right now, please, it's not even a conversation. So right now, if you're looking at it right now, as presently constituted, the Knicks have a brighter future. I think they can get more from Melo if they traded him.
Oh, now we're talking what ifs. Now you see this guy. Do you guys see this? Do you see his answers are so?
I'm bringing it back to what you brought.
His answers are so slick, and then he wants to try to throw the what? Then he wiggles. Go for it, baby.
I'm bringing it back to what you're saying. Now, if you're talking about who they can possibly get, and you brought up trading,
but we're not allowed to talk about that. Remember?
No, we're not allowed to talk about players possibly going there. I'm not talking about being able to sign anybody. I'm talking about if you're talking about assets, tradable assets. That's something you can't deny. What's a tradable asset on the Lakers? That number 1 pick if they get it. Yes or no?
Yes.
That's something that they have. You cannot deny that. That's not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
The Knicks have Carmelo Anthony, which is a tradable asset. You cannot deny that. That's what's on the team.
What do you think Melo's market value is right now? Best case scenario. What do you think? Tell me a trade you would love to hear from Melo that you think is worth it.
If I answer this question, will you say, "Oh, there you go again"?
I mean, I know we can't talk in what ifs because we can't possibly imagine or what if, but for the sake of argument, can you please what if for me, JT?
So you want to?
You guys see his face?
No. I want to know what the exact question is so I can answer it properly.
What is a trade what is the best possible trade? What is Melo's worth?
Here's the
what
problem.
do you think Carmelo's worth right now?
The problem with Carmelo is he has a no trade clause, so he has leverage, and that can possibly pose an issue with teams that we can trade him to. So again, it's a tradable asset, but I think I think we can get young players and draft picks.
Like, give me a good one. I know we don't know contracts.
I did this last week, but all right, if he's willing to waive his no trade, and if Doc is willing to trade Blake, I could see them doing a Blake to Boston, Melo to the Clippers, and Boston has a crap ton of young picks.
So you're telling me you're willing to give up Carmelo Anthony for a whole bunch of maybes, what ifs, and draft picks? You just killed me for that, though. It's hilarious. You just killed me for that. And you're willing to give up Carmelo Anthony for a whole bunch of draft picks.
How did I kill you for that? How did I kill you for that? Please explain to me.
You're willing to give up Carmelo Anthony for a whole bunch of draft picks. We don't even know the numbers. Whatever. Just give us a whole bunch of picks.
Is that now how teams build?
I mean, okay, that's what you want, brother. That's what you think Melo's worth? Just a whole bunch of random draft picks.
What do you think he's worth? Because we're talking about a three-way trade, so obviously Blake. I don't think Blake has a place here. If we did a straight-up Blake for Melo trade, where's he going to play? The Clippers would do it, but what are we going to do with Blake? He's a power forward and our best young asset, our best young player.
So let me ask you this again, so I'm clear. Forward. You would give up Melo for a whole bunch of random draft picks, but you would not trade Melo for Harden.
I don't want Harden on my team. No.
Just answer the question.
No, I would not trade him for Harden.
Okay. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Melo is worth a whole bunch of random draft picks. For me personally. But not James Harden.
Nope.
This, Knicks fans, is why you are where you are at today. That line of thinking. That's what I'll say. I got to, JT. That's crazy. I know you don't like his, whether you like his game or not, you would not take James Harden in a trade for Melo.
I don't want James Harden. No.
I love you, Knicks fans. Okay, James Harden has a PR.
You don't think they'd kill him in New York for not playing any D?
I'm not.
They would destroy him.
Melo, because Melo plays great.
Because he plays more than James Harden, yes.
Which I guess is good enough.
Good enough.
Okay, so James Harden has a PER for career-wise of 22.2. You can put this in perspective for me because I don't. And then Carmelo Anthony has a PER of 21.1. So, again, the better player seems to be Harden. It's not by much, but again, according to one of your favorite stats that you've introduced me to this year and you're trying to help me get, because I don't, I'm not the big PER guy, but again, James Harden is ahead of him in PER. Okay.
There's no arguing this with you. You're just going to keep going. So
hate it or love it. D Wade shoots through the Canadian anthem. Hate it or love it, JT. You have a problem with that?
I don't hate it or love it. He explains the situation. It's just usually a routine that they go through where he has an opportunity to, I guess he likes to dunk one, hit one from the free throw, and hit one from the three-point line before the game starts. It's just superstition. A lot of these players are superstitious. And they, according to him and the team worked it out, and it's going to be fixed for the next game. So it's not a big deal to me.
I hate it. I think it's disrespectful. I think it's inconsiderate because I feel like if us being the Americans that we are, if someone did that to us, we'd be disgusted, pissed off, upset, disrespected.
Right. If they meant to do it. If they meant to do it.
Regardless.
He came out.
How many times have you? We go to sports games. We go to games. How many times have you been in the crowd? Right. I'm gonna ask you from a personal standpoint and observationally. How many times have you been in the crowd and seen someone not stand up or not remove their hat during the national anthem? And what did you feel that minute? Just answer that. Were you pissed off or annoyed?
Neither.
You don't care. Well, that's personal. Okay, you don't care. You're not bothered if someone refuses. Not for religious reasons, but it's just someone just like I ain't fucking standing. It doesn't bother you.
It won't be me, and it won't be my kids, and it won't be people with me.
So you do care.
I don't care about other people. It won't be people
with you.
I don't care about other people.
So if I'm with you, we go to a game, and I'm just like, I'm not standing for that. What would you say to me?
I wouldn't I'm not saying mad at you or anything. You're a grown ass man.
You would feel like it's disrespectful, right? Personally,
I wouldn't even feel disrespect. I would just ask why, and I'd be curious.
Why would you ask that? Because it seems disrespectful.
Because it seems, yeah, you're right.
And I'm not badgering.
But here's what I'm saying.
And regardless of the reason I meant to or not, it's still what it is. Right. Sometimes you step on someone's shoe, whether you meant to or not. You still stepped on their shoe and you apologize. He didn't apologize. He didn't apologize for it. He just gave an explanation and shrugged it off.
He seemed contrite to me.
He didn't apologize, JT. So if someone steps on your shoe and just didn't do it on purpose, you're gonna be like, yo, what the? Oh, he seemed contrite. You get what I'm saying? I'm not saying you have to love it or hate it. I'm making my case for why I hate it. Okay. I feel like he should have at least issued an apology and just been like, look, my bad, guys. I meant no disrespect. It's just a routine. He just said, no, this is my routine, blah, blah, blah. Deal with it. Y'all get over it. Hate it. Bartolo Colon hits a home run. This Mets fan's going to love this. Bartolo Colon hits his first career home run at 42 years old and 350 pounds. He's not 350. But
I think that's the oldest for somebody hitting their first home run.
I think there's only Willie Mays or no.
No, their first home run.
Oh, no. It was like 3 other people who at that age hit a home run.
No.
Or something
the oldest
like
for hitting their first.
No, I understand that. I'm saying there was another stat that I confused it with that was it was only like 3 other people. Someone from the Dodgers.
That hit home runs at that age you're talking about? Oh, okay.
Something like that. Whatever.
Right.
I'm trying to be a baseball guy. Look, hate it or love it, JT.
I loved it.
Of course
man.
you love it.
I loved it. Even if he wasn't on my team, I mean, you could see the fun that they had. They all, darted away from the dugout or whatever. He's notorious for being a terrible hitter, and he's so fat and fluffy, and it's just hilarious.
It's hilarious, right? He's so lovable.
Yeah,
hate it. And I'm gonna tell you why I hate it. It has nothing to do with being a Mets hater. You Mets fans are on your high horse. You Mets fans always want to play innocent, always want to play victim. You Yankee fans always picking on us. Oh, you Yankee fans always hating on us. Blah, 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 blah. Mets fans, we stuck by our team. We're real this, we're real that, right? A-Rod's such a cheater. A-Rod's such a cheater. He's a steroid user. And the Yankees had all these steroid
I'm an A-Rod
users, right?
fan, so don't go there with
right?
me.
You have an issue with steroids in the game?
I have an issue with steroids after it became banned in the game.
Okay.
Not before.
Bartolo Colon has been suspended for using steroids. Mets fans love this guy. He's so funny. He's so cool. He's a steroid user. No problem, though, right? Because he plays for my team.
I don't have a problem with A-Rod neither. He did his time.
And I respect that.
He did his
but
time.
there's a lot of you guys out there who want to be quick to throw, A-Royd and all Yankees and the steroid users. Your boy is a steroid user, suspended and served for it. But you guys love him. He's fat. He's funny. He hit a home run. Hate it. Beat it. He's a steroid user. I'm not one of those steroid hater guys. I'm condemning the fans who are two-faced. You always want to condemn someone and scream about that when it's not your team. It's always that guy who's like, oh, Tom Brady's such a cheater, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but when your team does it, if he played for your team, you wouldn't be making all this noise or ruckus. So a lot of you Mets fans out there who wants to kill Yankee fans about A-Rod and want to kill Pettit and want to kill Clemens and want to talk about steroids.
I don't think anybody killed Pettit. Pettit got slid off.
He got off easy.
He got off easy.
But he stood up and admitted and apologized. But what I'm saying is the Mets fans who want to kill Yankees and A-Rod and stuff about steroids and don't want to stand on their high horse about steroids, but everybody loves Bartolo Colon, right? Because he's fat and he's funny. Hate it. Last one, JT, before we get out of here. Kentucky Derby. Hate it or love it?
I love it because it always comes right around my daughter's birthday. We usually stop everything to watch it because her mom loves watching it and stuff like that or whatever. Dope. And we always pick a horse. And so I try to just pick a random horse, whatever. And I had an issue because her mom, the wife, she went and chose the odds favorite. Oh, I'm going to pick him to win. And when he wins, she thought she was hot crap. You just looked at the odds. You picked the horse that was favorite to win, and you won. That's
took the fun out of it, right?
Come on, get out of here. But whatever, it's always fun. And then the kids get into it, too, because they just pick either the colors or the name. So I'm a fan of it.
I love it. I'm one of those fashion fanboy outside of it though.
Like those big hats.
I love the big hats. I love to see who's there and who's. I really don't care about the race unless it's the Triple Crown type of event. So I love it. I love it. I just I'm a sports guy. I love all the big things in sports. It's just in my blood. So I love it. Not necessarily that I care about the race or I bet because I'm not really a betting man. But I love the event. I love, seeing the celebrities there and different people there, what they're wearing, and Mimi's into that, of course. And interestingly enough, shout out to my stepbrother. Well, not my stepbrother, my brother-in-law, Mike. He just graduated from college, so we were actually out eating. You know how you go out to dinner after graduation, and Trin was like, "Look at the horses! Look at the horses!" while we were eating, and that's what made me realize it was even on. So I forgot about the Kentucky Derby at all this year, but Trin was like, oh, the horses. So that was cool. Love it. Love the whole event. One day, maybe me and Mimi will go out there and get some big hats. If we ever get that type of money.
That'd be fun.
That wraps up the 1 year anniversary episode. JT, we did it, brother. We did it. I know this is, what is that, around the hornish, but
yeah,
I'm happy to be here, y'all. I love doing this. I enjoy this so much. I'm so thankful for each and every one of you who supported me through along the way. Throughout this, JT, my brother, man, I appreciate you so much. Even though I know I get on your last nerve and you get on a whole bunch. But thank you, brother. I wouldn't want to do this with no one else. I appreciate
Good time,
this.
man.
Hopefully one day we can take this to another level.
You can. I'll be watching
it. You'll be right there with me. Shout out to DE again, Vinny Sirio, Mimi, all the girls, Trin. Everybody, man, all you guys out there who listen to the podcast and subscribe and give me an hour of your week every week. I truly appreciate you. Want to give a special shout out to Lou, my man Lou, who also inspired me and talked to me about doing this.
From my job, Lou?
Yep. Lou was one of the first people who inspired me and helped talk me into this. Danny DE, he inspired me and told me this. My boy Mac, he's been supporting me. Sauce, he's been on the show. Debo, my boy Joey, Pecha, we call him Pekka, it's inappropriate. Debo, Sayer, J Omega, who helped us out through our technical difficulties. Everybody along the way who's come on the show. My boy Vinny, my boy Vince, shout out to you. My boy Secor. I want to give a special shout out to Kaishan Jarrett for giving us a chance, being our first professional athlete on the podcast. Everyone, man, anybody who showed us love and support. My dad, everybody who shares every week. Sean, my boy Sean. Everyone, man. Shout out to all you guys. You got anybody? I know JT's cousin who's been supporting us from day one.
Michael Wilson, Daniel Wilson, my best friend Jared
boys.
Sanders.
Yeah, man. All of you guys who support us. We appreciate y'all so much, man. And we're going to keep it going. This is FTLOTG. We for the love of the game sports. And we out of here.
Peace.
Thank you, JT.
This shit still.
I got him. I got the
How come my
I don't
joint
know.
is
It's
not
that
working?